Now the letter to the Romans by Paul. What do we know about Paul? Uh, that his letters were written before the Gospels in history, so pretty interesting. From Paul's letter, even from the first letter of Paul, it is shown that Paul never heard about a living Jesus, a flesh and blood Jesus. Uh, he only has a God, a spiritual Jesus, an imagined Jesus, and a hallucinated God. He only know about what he talks about is his hallucinations, and he tries to understate it by scriptural references, what he either quotes uselessly, or he rewrites the lines to support his cause, like he quotes something from Deuteronomy that originally said that the Mosaic law given by God, so it is not given by Moses, as some believers just imagined. Uh, those are the commandments of God, uh, are meant to kept forever. Now, Paul says that, oh, well, there are laws, but they are not that important. The only important thing is that you should believe, and everything. Well, it is good if you can do at least some of the laws, but that's really not interesting. Now, Paul really goes and preaches into the non-Jews, but some hints in the Gospels let allow it, so I won't bother with that. But that Paul just finds out things, and so therefore many times seemingly contradicts Jesus, and yes, and it's not surprising, that fact. And well, he sometimes even contradicts himself, uh, like when he says, "Do not curse anyone. Do not curse non-believers." Then in another letter, he do, in the First Corinthians, he do curses non-believers, and many other, and there are other simple things that are can be told about Paul, who seem to be a really TV evangelist or other spiritual medium, who sits before the TV and, yeah, and that aura and the spirits and ghosts, you are possessed by 7 demons, but I can take upon your that curse from you if you pay $10,000. Paul really seems a little kid in the head. But what First Roman? This is just the first letter, and it seems to me that all the letters are just in the order of length. So that can be the only reason why the 3 letters of John are not put together with John's Apocalypse, apart from the other possibility that that was another John. I don't know, I didn't read that yet. So the first Roman, when I read it, I found that atrocious. He says many bad things, um, that God fiddles with your brain and makes you homosexual, and uh, makes you evil, force you to do and think evil things, and makes you a murderer, psychopath, and rapist, and liar, traitor, and I don't know what he can find out. And the biggest thing, and the other topic is of him there that yeah, you have to believe. Then this believing thing, that belief is the most important thing you have. It is so important, according to Paul in the letter of Romans, that uh, you have to be ready to be a martyr for it. And not just that, not just prove to the outside world that and don't deny your faith. You have to believe so strongly that you have to give up and force away all your natural instincts and behavior. I don't understand that. Why then you have a body? Why you have bodily needs? And the always returning thing that, oh yeah, and if you believe, then those who don't accept the teachings of Jesus, the cult of Jesus, will die. But if you believe in Jesus, then you you will live forever. Well, could you introduce me to Paul? I think not. Well, there is that soul thing. He always has that phrase that live in the soul and by the soul, and the soul is everywhere for him. Uh, I don't know. He used this as in a metaphorical speech, or he believes in as the body and the spirit, the spiritual body that can be separated from the body. It's not entirely clear from me, so that makes a little bit hard to understand what Paul is really saying. And there is that interesting thing that those who never heard about uh, the law of Jesus, I think, and the Mosaic law actually, then that cannot be blamed before those, because they didn't have a law, then they couldn't sin. So then I ask you, that means that preaching the gospel, the good news of Jesus, and all the Christianity, that how can Christianity be good if the preaching of Christianity makes people condemned, damned? Just think on it. And Paul says that in his lifetime, on all the earth was preached and heard, everyone heard the gospel of Jesus, the good news about Jesus. Not the four gospels, just the just the just the basic teachings about Jesus. So there are no exceptions from Paul's years. The people before, well, that's another matter. And he many times compares things to Jesus' sacrifices. The Jews' failure is for the salvation of the Gentiles. And there is another one of those metaphors. What? I don't see why this human sacrifice thing could be any good or loving. Not at all. There is that thing, the most important thing why I dropped out Paul, and with Paul's letter to the Romans, and with that, let's face it, if Paul is in one letter as a false prophet, then in all his other letters must be a false prophet too. That before the existence of humans, death never happened. Death never existed. Uh, not no animal died, no plants died, no microbes died, not even mountains or I don't know what he wants. He seems that to refer to all the world. Well, but that's different. What he knew to be the world and what we knew. Uh, so anyone, can you seriously believe that before humans appeared on planet Earth, because humanity is on the planet Earth, death never happened with anything? Come on, people.